example 4, I'll remove this 5. Is it valid? Is it valid? Because now there is no default constructor. Java compiler also it will not provide because already one constructor is there. Write this one, error. If the class does not contain any other constructor, then only Java compiler implicitly provides one default constructor. If the class does not contain any other constructor, then only provides. It is error. Is it over? This is about constructors. Is it over? Is it valid? Is it valid? But there is no default constructor. How it is valid? Implicitly provided. That's what valid. Is it valid now? Not valid because there is no default constructor. Now, in this case, it will not provide. That's what not valid. So everyone knows default constructor implicitly comes. But when it comes also, you should know. In this situation, it will not come. If the class does not contain any other constructor, then only comes. In this case, it will not come. That's what error. Most of the times, this fourth example only they'll ask. Most of the students, what they'll do, it is a default comes implicitly. That's what valid they'll write. It's an error. Okay. This is error. This is about constructors. Next concept, blocks. A group of statements between open brace and close brace is called as block. A group of statements between open brace and close brace is called as block. A group of statements between open brace and close brace is called as block. A block is also called as an initialization block because block also can be used to initialize. Because block also can be, a block is called as an initialization block because block also can be used to initialize instance variables. A block is also called as an initialization block because block also can be used to initialize instance variables. Next, write it. Class can have any number of blocks Class can have any number of blocks and all those blocks are executed from top to bottom order whenever an object is created. Class can have any number of blocks and all those blocks are executed from top to bottom order whenever an object is created. Class can have any number of blocks and all those blocks are executed from top to bottom order whenever an object is created. So in a one class, n number of blocks you can write top to bottom order executed. See, when memory allocated to instance variables, whenever object is created. When consider is called? Whenever object is created. When blocks are executed? Whenever object is created. See, while creating object only, memory allocated to instance variable, blocks executed, consider executed. So blocks are executed before constructor only. All right, that one. Blocks are executed before constructor only. 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 See, what is the purpose of block? I'll explain. First, according to these points, one program will see. Is it over? Writing is over? No. First, what is block? A group of statements between open brace and close brace. This is open brace, this is close brace. In between, you can write. Suppose something block 1. Okay. Open brace, close brace, between block 1. This is called block. Now, here, a group of statements between open brace and close brace is called a block. Open brace, close brace. Some statements you can write together in a brace, between braces. That is called block. A block is also called as an initialization block because block also can be used to initialize instance variables. Suppose integer a, if I write, this is which type of variable? If I write a equal to 10, here implicitly this dot a, here this line executed whenever object is created. This line executed whenever object is created. This total code at a time executed. That's what it is called initialization. For you appears like a 2 lines, but this is executed at the same time. That's what it is called initialization. So generally this line is called declaration, this line is called assignment. But in this case, it is not declaration assignment because whenever object is created, this is executed. Whenever object is created, block executed. So total code at a time executed. That is the reason it is called as initialization. Okay. This is the reason it is called initialization block also. Okay. Now, class can have any number of blocks and all those blocks are executed from top to bottom order. Suppose I'll write one more block here. System.out.println block 2. Okay. It is called block 1. It is called block 2. Now I written top to bottom like this. N number of you can write. N number of you can write. Blocks are executed before constructor only. Suppose if you write constructor also. System.out.println. Now demo class loaded, main method called here. I'll create object. Whenever object is created, blocks executed, constructor executed, memory allocated to instance variables. All will be done at a time. But first, memory allocated to instance variables. We don't have instance variables in this program. Next, blocks, top to bottom. First, block 1, next, block 2. After that, constructor. So, output block 1, block 2, constructor. File, save. See, compilation and execution. But what is the purpose of block? I'll explain. Just write this one. Example. Write this example. What is the purpose? I'll explain. What is output? Block 1, block 2, constructor. Block 1, block 2, constructor. Now, when blocks are executed, whenever object is created. When constructor is executed, whenever object is created. But whatever you are writing in the block, that code you can write in the constructor, no? Block executed whenever object is created. Constructor executed whenever object is created. But whatever you are writing the code, you can write in the constructor. Whatever you are writing the code in the block, that code you can write in the constructor. That's what blocks are not in use. So further not required. This is only first program. This is only last program. Okay. Further blocks are not required. Because when block is executed, whenever object is created. When constructor is executed, whenever object is created. While creating object, you require code. That is right in the constructor. That's what blocks are not in use. Okay. This is only first program. This is only last program. Further, it is not required. But why this example also, if it is not in use? Suppose in written test, they may ask like this. Then what student will think? Before this line, one line is missed, they'll think. Because something, only brace is there directly. What they'll think? Either method or constructor should be there. Like that they'll think. Then seeing this, what students will write? It is error, they'll write. Error, they'll write. That is the reason one example I given. So sometimes they may ask. This is also one concept. But this concept not in use. Okay. This code executed whenever object is created. This code executed whenever object is created. While creating object, whatever you want, that is right in the constructor instead of block. Okay. But static block, it is in use. I'll explain. Next. Next heading, static blocks. Note on. Static blocks. A block with static keyword is called as static block. A block with static keyword is called as static block. A block with static keyword is called as static block. A block with static keyword is called as static block. So before block, if you write one static keyword, that is called static block. A static block is also called as static initialization block. Because a static block is also called as static initialization block because static block can be used to initialize static variables, nothing but class variables. A static block is also called as static initialization block because static block can be used to initialize static variables. A class can have any number of static blocks. A class can have any number of static blocks, and all those static blocks are executed from top to bottom order. A class can have any number of static blocks, and all those static blocks are executed from top to bottom order whenever class is loaded. A class can have any number of static blocks, and all those static blocks are executed from top to bottom order whenever class is loaded. You already studied execution priority while teaching variables. Have you remembered? Class variables, static blocks, main method. So here, before main method only static blocks executed. Static blocks are executed before main method only. Static blocks are executed before main method only. Static blocks are executed before main method only. See, just one static keyword, if you attach to block, that is called static block. That is, you can use to initialize static variables, nothing but class variables. You can write n number of static blocks, top to bottom order, whenever class is loaded. And whenever class is loaded, main method also executed. Whenever class is loaded, class variable memory located. Whenever class is loaded, static blocks also executed. Okay. See one example. Suppose it is static. Something output static block 1. Suppose here output something static block 2. Here system.out.println main method. Now demo class loaded. First class variables. First class variables executed. Any class variable is there? No. Next static blocks. First this one. Next this one. After that main method. File save. Compilation, execution. Static. See, compilation, execution. Write this one.
Recording in progress.
Block 2, main method. Static block 1, static block 2, main method. See, whatever you are writing in the static block, that is you can write in the main method. No? Whatever you are writing in the static block is executed whenever class is loaded. Main method is also executed whenever class is loaded. That whatever you want while loading a class, That code you can write in the main method. But in further, without main method also will develop applications. That is comes under advanced Java. Without main method also we can run Java programs. In that situation, static blocks are required. So suppose your application requires some Java library or C language library. That library, if you want to load in Java program, for loading purpose, we'll write that code inside the static block. We'll write this static block executed whenever class is loaded. First class loaded, then static block loaded. Inside the static block, we'll write library code that will be loaded. That will be useful for application. But now present, you can write inside the main method also. But in further, main method will not be there. Advanced Java solid topic onwards, main method will not be there. In that situation, we use static block. Just write that point. Static blocks are used. Static blocks are used to load libraries in real-time applications. Static blocks are used to load libraries in real-time applications. Static blocks are used to load libraries in real-time applications. Static blocks are used to load libraries in real-time applications. Okay. Now, static blocks are used to load libraries in real-time application. So actually, you observe, I'll remove static blocks. Here, I'll write some code. Here, I'll write some code. This is application code. This is application code. This application requires some library. The library code you can write here. The library code you can write here. Then what will happen? First demo class loaded, main method executed, library loaded. This library useful for this coding. But further main method will not be there. In that situation, other methods will write the code. Other methods will write the code. Either here other methods will write the code. Now, here static block will write. Whenever demo class loaded, static block executed. Here library loaded. This library useful for this application. Present, we have a main method. Whatever you are writing in a static block, that code you can write inside the static main method. But in few further, main method will not be there. In that situation, where you will write static block. That purpose static block. Okay. You already studied principles. How many principles are there? 4. What are those? Encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism. 4 principles are there. If you want to use 4 principles, what we require? Class and object. That is completed. These many classes, you studied only class and object. Okay. Principles not yet started. Now, whatever you studied, just in a one class, I'll write here. See, what is this? What is this? What is this? Instance method. What is this? Class method. What is this? Block. What is this? Static block. What is this? Constructor. Default constructor. What is this? See, in a one class, these many things we can write. Okay. You studied non-static instance variable, static class variable, non-static instance method, static class method, non-static initialization block, static initialization block, default constructor, parameter constructor. But static keyword you cannot apply to constructors. If you apply error. Okay. These all you studied. Okay. These all required to learn principles. I'll ask some questions. Give me answers. This keyword, I'll ask some questions. Whatever you studied from that only. When I started object-oriented programming, that day onwards up to here, some questions I'll ask. Think yourself and you answer. This keyword, what is this keyword? Object reference. We can also call reference variable. Why we are calling like that? Because it refers object. Which object? Current object. Will it come implicitly in the instance method? Will it come implicitly in the class method? Will it come implicitly in the initialization block? Will it come implicitly in the static initialization block? No. Will it come implicitly in the constructor? Yes. When we have to write this keyword explicitly? Whenever instance variable and local variable names are same, then only we have to write explicitly. Okay. See here, one more concept is there about this in the constructors. Here, 1 minute. This is what is this is default constructor or parameter constructor? This is parameter constructor. Here, one more concept. System.out.println something welcome. System.out.println a public static void main string args. Here, new demo. Which constructor called? New demo of 5. See, demo class loaded, open brace executed, main method called, open brace executed, new demo. Control comes here, welcome printed. Again, if you write like this, demo of 5, control comes here, 5 printed. So output is welcome and 5. Okay. Now in this program, how many objects created? 2 objects created. First object calls default constructor. Second object calls parameter constructor. Okay. Now I'll create only one object. Here, one constructor called. Okay. Java C demo, Java demo. One constructor called. If I pass 5, now also one constructor called. Parameter constructor. Okay. Clear? Both the objects, one object only I want to create, both the constructors I want to call. It is also possible. This keyword is now note on this bracket semicolon. It calls default constructor of current class. It calls default constructor of current class. This Argument 1, argument 2, like this. It calls parameterized constructor of current class. It calls default constructor of current class. It calls parametered constructor of current class. This or this must be a first statement in a constructor. Why? I have to explain. Write this one. This or this must be a first statement in a constructor. Here, previously you studied this dot. This dot different, this brackets are different. Okay. This dot you studied, it is this bracket semicolon. This brackets semicolon. It calls default constructor of current class. This arguments, it calls parametered constructor of current class. This or this must be a first statement in a constructor. These 3 points I would explain. See. Is it over? Say, whatever you studied, this dot, it is different. This dot for variables and methods. If you want to call variables and methods, we used this dot. Okay. But here, this bracket semicolon, this argument semicolon. Now, I'll give examples. Suppose here, new demo of 5. Which constructor is going to be called? Parametered constructor is going to be called. Here, I'll write this bracket semicolon. Now, it calls default constructor of current class. So, from here, control comes to parametered constructor. From here, control comes to default constructor. Then output welcome printed. After that, 5 printed. File save. Okay. Example 1. Note on. Example 1. Example 1. Is it over? What is the output? Welcome 5. Say from here, control comes to parametered constructor. From here, control comes to default constructor. Here, one object only created, two constructors called. Okay. New demo of 5. This 5 copied in A. This constructor called. This, it calls default constructor of current class. Welcome printed. After that, it will come back 5 printed. Okay. Now what I'll do, here new demo I'll write. From here control comes to default constructor. Here, if you want to call parametered constructor, like this, you have to write. Now, from here, control comes to default constructor. From here, control comes to parametered constructor. Then what is output? File, welcome. Write this one, file, save. See, if I print compilation, execution, file and welcome. Example 2. Example 2. What is output? 5, welcome. See, here. From here, control comes to default constructor. From here, control comes to parameter constructor. So, new demo, control comes to default constructor. This of 5, control comes to parameter constructor. It calls parameter constructor of current class. Okay. One argument is there, one argument I passed. 2 arguments are there, 2 arguments you can pass. Like that. Is it over? Now, suppose this line, if I write here, just now I given one statement. This or this must be a first statement in a constructor. So, if I write like this, it is error. File, save. Compilation. See, call to this must be first statement in a constructor. But why it should be a first statement? That is next topic, inheritance. First 4 principles are there, no? In 4 principles, first I'll teach inheritance only. In that principle, you'll understand this one. Because that is related to super keyword. Super keyword comes under inheritance. At the time, you'll understand. Here, all concepts mixed in object-oriented programming. But first what you have to learn, second what you have to learn, order also very difficult. Like that, all mixed. You observe different faculties, different type they'll teach. Different Java books, different authors, different types they written. But at last subject is same. Okay. Different author, different types they written books. Different faculties, different type they are teaching subject. But at last subject is same. Okay. If like that appears, different views appears. At last subject is same. Here to understand this one, super keyword required. Super keyword comes under inheritance principle. At the time you will understand. See, before teaching static keyword, only static keyword you learn. You observe. Variables are given, types of variable. At that time only static keyword I explained. But later you studied, after 4-5 days, you studied about static. Like that. Starting object-oriented programming only, demo D equal to new demo. That is consider. But consider later you learn. Welcome program only main method is there. About method you later will learn. Like that. All concepts mixed. But that is only I explained up to exception handling. If you are perfect, remaining further Java nothing. Up to exception handling only order difficult to maintain. All mixed. So here this of 5. If you write second line, it's an error. Okay. This must be first statement. You observe about this. Like this you learn. This dot you learn. This brackets you learn. This arguments you learn. Okay. This dot, it is for variables and methods. These two for constructors. This is for variables and methods. These two for constructors we have to use. This dot, will it come implicitly? Yes. But this bracket implicitly it will not come. It will not come. This dot implicitly comes. But these brackets implicitly it will not come. This is when we have to write explicitly. Instance variable, local variable, names are same. This is to call default constructor of current class. This is to call parameter constructor of current class. This dot, you can write second line also. But this brackets, second line you cannot write. Okay. These all points you have to remember. Suppose if I write like this, what will happen? Give me answer. Oh, 1 minute. If I write like this, what will happen? Here, new demo. From here, control where it comes? Default constructor here. This of 5. Parameter constructor. This default. Parameter. It will rotate there only. It will never end. That's what error comes. Recursion. This is called recursive. Recursive calling error. See, if I compile, if I run, if I compile only error. See, recursive constructor invocation. It will rotate there only. It will never print system that welcome 5. Because control will rotate there only. So this is very simple. Like new demo, control comes here. This of 5, control comes here. This again control comes here. This of 5, again control comes here. This control comes here. This control comes like this. It will rotate. It will never come to welcome, never come to A. So this is error. We should not write. Okay. This is about class and object related concepts. Tomorrow I'll start principles. Whatever you studied object oriented first class to today class, if you remember, you can understand tomorrow class. Otherwise not possible. Because already given to use encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance and polymorphism, We required class and object. Whatever you learn, if you remember, you can understand tomorrow class. Otherwise, not possible. You prepare and come, it is better. Okay. We'll see continuation tomorrow. Online students, Google Classroom link already 1 month above over completed. Still you didn't receive. This is only Google Classroom link. Many times I given. Jayasri, are you full stack Java developer student or only core Java? Nagul, full stack Java student or only core Java? Two links are there. That's what. Core Java. Okay. This is core Java link. I posted, you can see. Next, Jayasri. You're core Java student or full stack Java student?